Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Soul Creates vlogmas season. So today I'm going to show you how to start spinning on a drop spindle, and then we're going to move on to plying on a drop spindle. So today I'm just going to start spinning these rollags that I have here onto a fresh drop spindle, and then I'm just gonna go for as long as my camera will stay charged, or until I finish, one or the other, and then I'll come back with a conclusion video, and then we'll do another video where I show plying them together. So I have these rollags here. I weighed them out to make sure that I have the same amount of weight on this spindle as I do on the one I'm about to start. I'm going to choose one. Here we go. Okay. And so if you've never spun from a rollag before, it's really easy. I find it actually easier than working with roving. It just pulls, it drafts so easily. And I like to pencil draft, so I pre-draft everything out to about a pencil width, maybe a little skinnier in some cases. You know, you just pull on it like this. Some people like to draft as they go. I don't. I prefer to pre-draft, and then I can always even things out as I'm going. But I just find that this makes it a lot easier to get the evenness that I'm looking for. I've had a lot of people comment on my drop spindled wool that it looks very uniform and even. That is 100% because I pre-draft. If I tried to do this without pre-drafting, it would not be even. Now on this one, this is not, let's see, make sure I have this. Yeah. This one is not 100% even. I didn't want it to be. I'm trying to spin something that's a little varied in size here. I don't really have a particular reason other than that I like how it looks sometimes when it's like that. Like I have this that I spun here, and I don't know, I like that it's different. I like that it's not all uniform. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm going for here too, is for things to not be too uniform while still maintaining enough uniformity to not be difficult to crochet with when I get to my final project. So, I think that's enough drafted out to start with. And then some people put a leader on their drop spindle. Again, that's something I don't do. There's not a particular reason why. To be honest, one time I just picked my drop spindle up and started spinning, and I didn't have a leader on it, and I didn't even think about it, and I just took the yarn around, or the roving around, and started spinning it, and it worked fine, so it's what I've been doing. Now, it doesn't really matter which direction that you start spinning in. What does matter is if you're plying it together like I'm going to be, that you keep your direction consistent. So I spun clockwise on this one, so I'm going to spin clockwise on this one. You just give it some spin, and then you can kind of pull it out. It's hard to do it how I usually would here in front of the camera. I'm going to actually take this into the living room with me, I think, so that the rest of the video you can see me actually dropping the spindle to spin it. But to get started, we've got this length. Draw it out a little bit more. I want it to not twist back on itself when I give it slack. That seems good. Okay. So we've got this. Well, it twisted back on itself a little. That's fine. Now I have this little loop here that I just took off the hook. I'm going to go through that little loop with my spindle. And this is a top whorl drop spindle, by the way. I'm going to hold this tight and start wrapping my spun yarn around it. And that's going to hold it in place. Okay, now that that's held in place, I can go ahead and keep spinning. Oops, yeah, that's the way I'm going. And you will notice I'm using two very different spindles. They do spin differently. This one goes a lot faster than the other one, in my experience, and keeps its spin for longer. I prefer this one. I want to get some more like this one. But these are what I have available, so. And I didn't want to have to unload all my fiber in between spinning. I will end up taking it all off and winding it into center pole balls. To ply it, just because that's how I do it. Yep. Now we had an unintentional drop. Let's go back a bit. Oh, I'm losing some of my twist there. Okay. Keep spinning. Oops, spun the wrong way for a second. Happens sometimes. As long as you catch it, it's not a problem. I did one time somehow end up, I honestly don't even know how I did this, but on one spindle of yarn, I started in one direction, came back at some point, went in the other direction, came back at some point, and went back in the first direction. And that was a lot of fun when I tried to ply it. Because when you ply, you need both plies of fiber to go in one direction. Here we have a little piece of vegetable matter. We can just pull it out. I find it's actually easier to pull vegetable matter out of your yarn as you're spinning it than it is to pull it out as you're making rollags or as you're carding. You can get the big bits out when you're carding and making your rollags, but I find that when spinning it, it's almost like even the tiniest pieces just kind of like you'll feel them slip through your fingers, and they really stand out when you look at it, and they pull out really, really easily. So if I have any left after I'm done carding and blending and making my rollags, I don't really worry about it. I just pull them out while I'm spinning. And see, here you can see I have some thicker parts and some thinner parts. Again, that is exactly what I'm looking for here on this particular yarn that I'm making. Sometimes I want it to be a lot more even. Do I have any examples around of any particularly even yarn that I've spun? No. Not close at hand anyways. The most even one I've ever spun is actually on my couch right now, becoming a shawl. Oh, and also if you watched my previous video of me blending wool, and I said I was gonna demonstrate spinning it, I had intended to do my spinning demonstration on this little contraption I have called an iSpin, which hooks up to a sewing machine. Uses the motor of your sewing machine to power something kind of like an e-spinner. It's handy and it's inexpensive, but it will eventually burn out the motor on your sewing machine, which I kind of thought might happen, but didn't fully anticipate happening right now. When I went to start spinning this wool yesterday, I was gonna do the same thing I was doing here. I spin the first ply and then show you guys spinning the second ply and then plying it. And I think I got one roll lag in and my sewing machine just died. It smelled like it was melting. It made a terrible sound and it just stopped going. So now I have to get that fixed. We'll see if getting the motor replaced is more economical than just purchasing a new sewing machine. It probably will be, but you know, you never know. So I need to take it into the sewing machine repair shop, price that out, and in the meantime I'm planning on not using the iSpin anymore unless I can rig up a separate motor for it that's not a sewing machine motor. Like I might get something like one of the EEW motors that they're only like $25 or something, and see if I can rig it up on that, or I might just save up some money and buy an actual electric wheel, probably an EEW, because those are the most affordable. In the meantime though, I don't mind drop spinning at all. I find it very cathartic, and it has a kind of a mysticalness to it. You take this fiber and spin it in your hands and turn it into a yarn that you can use for something. Is really just a really cool experience to me. So I might just keep drop spinning for the foreseeable future instead of shelling out money for something fancy, even though it's a lot faster to use something electronic. I also do have a spinning wheel that I need to get fixed. I need to touch base with a guy who thinks he can fix it and find out how much that's going to cost, because that, I mean, that would also be ideal to actually just be able to use a spinning wheel. Although mine's very antique, so I don't know if it would actually be something that I want to use all the time so much as for a novelty. I've heard some people say using antique ones all the time is a little weird, that they're not as smooth as modern ones, but I think that that's probably dependent on the user to some extent. Well, alright, so you've seen my demonstration. I'm going to go see if I can set my camera up in my living room so that you can watch me spin while I sit and watch TV. That would be ideal. Although I do have a small human in my house, so I don't know if it's, yeah, I guess it's probably not at all practical to set my camera up in the living room. It's probably just gonna knock it over. Alright, well, in that case, I'm gonna start fast forwarding through this. I'm gonna spin this roll lag, and I will show you how I join a new one. And then yeah, I guess we'll just be back for the reveal of the spun fiber, and then again for the plying. Maybe I'll do this on the plying in one video, since I probably won't be able to make this a super long spinning video, given what I just said there about my tiny human. Okay, so let me see if I can rig this up to get a little bit better of a view. Okay, let's see. Figure out how to do this without showing you guys too much of my mess. Okay. And get a ring light over here. Alright, let's try that. Let me see. Oops, wrong way. Maybe we need a lighter background for that. Yeah, I'm not really sure with this purple, this deep purple yarn here, that you can really see very much of it. Okay. Let's see. Let's get my chair out of the way. Try to get not too much of me on the camera also. Okay. So basically we're just gonna give it a flick, and we hold the yarn in one hand, this hand, and we just let it spin. And it kind of fizzles out, and we give it another flick. And it fizzles out, and we give it another flick. You know, I have an idea. So this is a white sheet that I have for tie-dyeing. It's got some crap on it that blew in the window one day in the summer. But let's see if that gives us a little bit better of a background. I can also turn this light on. Let's see. Bring that chair forward so that's more of what we're focused on. Might cut some of this part out. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, you can at least see the yarn better. There. And then here's one of those things I was mentioning. Let's wind up to it. And here is a little tiny piece of vegetable matter. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I'm just going to pull it out. And back to spinning. Can I zoom out anymore? Yeah, that's about as much as I can do. Just trying to be able to see the yarn on the spindle here. It's hard for me to tell when I'm looking at the back of the camera what can be seen and what can't. Everything looks darker in the back of the camera than it does in real life or on the computer screen. When I eventually go to edit this, there's a wee bit of vegetable matter. There we go. Another bit. And see how easily that comes out. If you watched my video when I was making the rollags, then I'm sure you've seen that it's much more difficult to pull out when you get to that, when you're at that stage, than it is to wait until you're here. That is something you definitely want to watch for. You don't want your free roving here that's already drafted, or even if you haven't drafted it, you don't want that to get caught in the bit that you're spindling. Kind of drop that back in there. We're coming to the end of this, so it's becoming more likely that that happens. As you get towards the end, it starts to kind of become a little free, the part that's in the bowl or on the table or in the box or bag or whatever you're spinning out of. Okay. At this point, I'm going to get out another piece of, or another roll. Whoop. I'm going to get out another roll-ag and start joining. I have a very, not very stable tripod for my ring light. Okay, there we go. Bring this back over here. Zoom in a wee bit. Just in case it didn't catch it because my camera's being funny, I will be continuing to put out videos into the new year. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more fun crafting. You have a wonderful day, happy crafting, and toodaloo!